Welcome back here to Snetterton of the MRO Powerbike Tour 2004. Round one of the series. These are the Aprilia Thousands, the sponsor for this year by Shell. And number 6 there, that's John Pugh. Number 13, of course, is Wade Martin. Look out for number 3. We just got a glimpse of him on the line. And then that's our old friend Darren Jones. Darren, of course, finishing 3rd last year to Warren Scott and, of course, Daniel Tarrant. Daniel Tarrant unable to race here this year due to lack of budget. There is Jonesy with the bike all over the place. Number 64 there going through, that's Dylan Fox. So remember, these are all Aprilia RSV Thousands. They're all on the same tyres. They're basically, it's a control class. They're not allowed to do much to them. Number 19 also in there as well. That's Mark Compton on that rather exquisitely painted turquoise fair-end machine. They'll get spotted very easily by the TV cameras, that's for sure. Especially if he falls off. Looks like 73 Mark Rams, both of them, that's gone into the lead. There is that machine of the number 19 Mark Compton going almost up the pit wall. You don't want to scratch the paintwork, mate. So Rams, both of them it is that leads them through. Jonesy's second. Oh, nearly. What was I saw about his paintwork? Mark Compton. He was almost scratching it then. He's only 2 laps into the race. So that's the leader, 73. 3 behind him, being challenged by John Pugh, number 6. Little bit easier, Mr. Compton. Take it easy on the paintwork. He's not going to thank us for all these mentions, that's for sure. So that's the battle. We've got 4, and Compton dropping back off that 4 at the moment in 5th place. It's Rams both them, I should say, leads. Darren Jones second. Remember, Darren only just lost the number 2 plate to Daniel Tarrant last year at Brands Hatch. Led most of the race, or virtually all the race, and Daniel got him on the last couple of laps. Number 13 going through there, that's Wade Martin. Everybody safely through. One make class this, all the same bikes. They're only able to make a couple of modifications. That looks like 56 going through there. That's Dave Cambridge. And Dave, of course, wearing that fluorescent bib, which means he's, well, I'm not going to call him a novice. He's a new rider to the series, or to this class, or into racing. But that's what happens when you are a new graduate into racing. You have to wear a bib until you've done a certain amount of racing. And you're deemed to be competent on the machine, as they say. Jonesy still can't get past Rams, both of them. 3rd place, it's still the Birmingham-based man John Pugh on the Wheel Power Aprilia Centre machine. And that's the 3 that are, at this moment, squabbling over 1st place. Darren Jones, of course, I'm not going to say tipped as a possible winner this year, because things can happen in a championship. Certainly he doesn't have the likes of Marshall Neal or Warren Scott to deal with this year, so he does have a good chance of taking the series. 55 going through there, a bit further down the field, that's Will Packer from Halstead. And as we look to the front, and Jones has made a break. Jones has found a way past Rams, both, and gone into the lead, and the man behind him, John Pugh, still looking maybe to make a go at these two. They are, as one would say, almost just a wheel apart, so Jonesy will have to sort of put his head down, because these two behind are waiting for a chance to pounce. It's a level playing field as far as the machines are concerned. It's all down to the rider ability as far as the wins are concerned. He who can get into the corner a bit quicker than somebody else. 38 just going through there, that's Chris Norris from Stockport on the team Edgeley Sport Racing Aprilia. But Darren Jones leads it from Chesterfield on the Speedway Motorcycles machine. He's got the man behind him, of course, number 73, Mark Ramsbotham. Then it's the number 6 bike of John Pugh from Birmingham. As that 55 bike, Will Packer comes round again. And Will at the moment, well, he's circulating down, quite well down the field, I have to say. But he's enjoying himself, that's the main thing. Dave Cambridge, I think it is, on that bike, yes indeed. So Dave's having a good time. This is the battle at the front, and it's still Jonesy that leads it. Now, as Pugh found a way past Ramsbotham. As we look further back down the field, you should see Wade Martin, Ben Garner, Paul Rogers, John Coughlin in there as well. That's the battle for the further, or for the lower places down to the top 10. But it's still Darren Jones then that leads. It's still Mark Ransbotham who's just looking for an opportunity to get through. John Pugh is still there. We're looking back at fourth. Wade Martin is still the man that holds fourth at the moment. But look at these three. It's a bit of a train. Any one of these three, I think, can take the 25 points. Not sure that was fourth place, but there's number 64 going through. That's Dylan Fox. He's around about 9th, I think, at the moment. But these lower positions tend to swap quite quickly from corner to corner. Everybody's safely around the track at the moment. We haven't seen anybody go down. Although I may have spoke too soon. I can see the green recovery van making its way around the track, so maybe they're out to pick somebody up at the end of the race. As we wait for the race leaders to come back into sight, here they are. It's still Jonesy, Darren Jones. And he's still got Mark Ransbotham behind him, still John Pugh. There's the 13 bike of Wade Martin, and Martin closing up now on the 3 in front. So we might have a 4-way scrap for a win yet, if Martin could just get a little bit. Oh, the back end just slithered around under as he put the power down into that back wheel. It got away. Remember, these guys are not running on slick tyres, they're running on treaded tyres. So back marker just being swallowed up there. I think that was 77. Dave Dibble. That's Officer Dibble. Well, he's just about to fall a lap down on the rest. It is number 77, Dave Dibble. So he goes through as we look further down the field. And Mark Compton still in there on that beautifully turned out turquoise fair-end Aprilia. But this is the battle for the front. And Jonesy just made a small break of it. He's still got Ransbotham, still got Pugh there behind him, so the three are beginning to try and break away. 13, Wade Martin, still back there in fourth, trying to close down the gap. It's tough. It's a windy circuit here today. It's not going to be easy for these guys. 16 there, and that's Doug Lowe. He's got 65 there in front of him. That's James Archer. And those two having their own little war, as they would say. 77, and there he is, Mr. Dibble, Dave Dibble. Good day, Officer Dibble. I hope you're feeling well. 78, he goes through there. That's Keith Clark. He's running about 8th at the moment. So as they get into those S's yet again, but on dry here today. In fact, the clouds are beginning to make their way up. Usually in the Aprilia 1000 race, it chucks it down with rain. 3, Jonesy leads it. It's still Mark Ransbotham there, 73, behind him in second place. The early race leader, who's still got John Pugh there in third. And here comes, oh, something going on. Jonesy in amongst the back markers. That's number 43, just going a lap down. That's John Chambers. So I don't know how new John is to the series, but he's just experienced what it's like to have one of the front men go straight past him. And there's number 60. Well, it's Paul Rogers in actual fact, and Paul running in around 6th place. Oh, someone's gone down. I heard John, the commentator, get just out of his seat for a moment as the rest of the field. Number 10 there going through, and that's Steve Kenworthy running down in about 14th. So Steve's still a lot to do if he wants to get on terms, but will score points. Remember, it's the top 15 that do score points. 25 right down to 1 point for last place. That's 15th. Here we go. It's still Jonesy and Mark Ransbotham still looking for a way, waiting for Jonesy to make a small mistake. Just one little twitch might be enough to let the second place man back through into the lead, but I don't think Jonesy's going to give it to him that easy. Mark's been a bit of rush, I should say, to get this bike ready. You'll notice there's no stickers on the bike. He's had to really go to get this bike ready for the race here today, but he's managed to do it. He's looking good. Darren Jones looking very good at the moment, beginning to pull a small gap. This is the battle for further places down the field as they come through. And I can see some big dark clouds heading towards us, so it's going to rain for sure. It always does at the Aprilia 1000 race. That's first and second. It's still Darren Jones. It's still Mark Ransbotham. in second place. That's how it stood from about lap 6. Number 60 going through there, Paul Rogers in 6th place. He's got 45 Ben Garner looking to go past him, so we might see a swap there before the checkered flag goes out. But here comes the two at the front. Jonesy it is. Goes through and takes the checkered flag. Mark Ramsbotham in second, John Pugh, Wade Martin. Ben Garner did in fact get through to 5th. For Rogers 6th, John Coughlin, Keith Clark, Dylan Fox and Doug Lowe rounding out that top 10.
Thanks, Mark. Love you.
So welcome back here to Croft. Now we have the Aprilia Thousands. Mark Ramsbotham, there he is, the series leader at the moment. Darren Jones number 3, but he's got number 2, Daniel Tarrant, back on the grid now for this year. Tarrant making a return after retiring, but also riding a 2-year-old bike. It's Jonesy that's got the drop on Ramsbotham. I just caught a glimpse of Tarrant number 2 around 4th place. So these two, you remember, Daniel Tarrant and Darren Jones went at it head to head at the last race at Brands Hatch last year, and the result just went to Daniel Tarrant after a small mistake from Jonesy after he led most of the race, or he stayed, should I say, in second place for most of the race, of course, because the winner, Warren Scott, not racing this year, has moved on to bigger things, British Superbike, I think. 64 going through there at the moment, and that's Dylan Fox, of course. These big Aprilia 1000 RSV Mille machines, all bog standard. Jonesy leads it. There is Tarrant, number 2. Let me remind you, he is on a bike that's 2 years old, so whereas most of the other lads are all on bikes that are from this year, 2004, including the race leader at the moment, young Jonesy, Darren Jones. And Jonesy winning the opening round at Snetterton. Said it's very slippery and greasy out there at the moment. We've had rain again, up to second place and almost off the track. Number 45 Ben Garner, he keeps doing that, he'll be off the track I think. Remember, these are standard, it's a production class race, they're all on the same tyres, they're all untuned machines. They are allowed to change the chip and the rear cam. Well, there we go, somebody off, not sure who that is, might be 62. I think it could be, I'm not sure. Can't quite see the number. You just moved, Mr. Marshall? No, not in time. Well, whoever it is has gone off, so it could have been actually Paul Rogers, number 60. Race leader, it's still Darren Jones. Second, it's the 22 bike of Jason Dixon. So Dixon having a good ride. Remember, as I said, these are production machines. It's getting dark again. It's getting dark. Big black clouds are beginning to find their way over this side of the circuit. And Tarrant up into 3rd place. So Daniel out of retire. I spoke to his dad at Snetterton and he said, well, we just don't have any money. We can't buy a new bike, so we decided to retire. But I think they've had a think about it and said, well, okay, we've got the bike, let's go racing. So, of course, you do realise that the winner of this class gets a brand new bike from Aprilia at the end of the year. Warren Scott, of course, got the one last year. Was presented to him at the MRO dinner in January. So I think this year Darren Jones has high hopes of getting that new bike at the end of the year. Tells me he's going to retire afterwards. 16, don't believe a word of it going through there. That's Doug Lowe. Yeah, Jonesy says I'm going to retire. I think that's, of course, if he wins this year. No reason why he's shone, but there's always somebody out there that can give him a run for his money. 22, 2. That's no change then in the top 3. Jason Dixon is still there on that 22 bike. He's still got Tarrant behind him. There is the 24 bike of Keith Pringle going through. They'll start to open up some gaps now, the guys at the front. A little bit quicker than some of the other riders. It is really, in some ways, an entry class, this, to come racing. You buy yourself an Aprilia 1000 and you enter, and as I said, you take the lights off the bike, you do the necessary changes to the machine to bring it up to standard for scrutineering, and get yourself a racing licence and do a few track days, and then you're on, you know, enter for it. Because by all means, it's a good laugh. These lads do have good fun out there, and it's fairly inexpensive because these are production machines. So Tarrant has gone up to second. Right, I think the sparks are going to start flying now, because Jones is going to know Tarrett's there. Here they come. Oh, that big black cloud over here just doesn't seem to want to move. We're going to get rain, I think, which would at all surprise me, because every time the Aprilia Thousands go out on the track, it rains. Something about these guys, they seem to attract water. That looks like number 10 there. That's Steve Kenworthy. Yeah, Kenworthy is in there as well. Now, this is the race leader. It's still 3, Darren Jones. They're lapping at about 79 miles per hour at the moment, which is relatively slow for these bikes when you consider that they are 1000cc machines. They are on standard tyres. They aren't running on slicks. They're standing on, say it's a one tyre class again. 16 Doug Lowe, 38 Chris Norris there behind him, so they're having their own little war at the moment. They're running down, I think, 7th and 8th position, so points to be had. Here comes the two at the front, and Tarrant is definitely hunting down Jonesy. This is what we saw at Brands last year. Jonesy held second for the whole of the race bar the last couple of laps, made one small mistake, and Tarrant was straight through on him to take the number 2 plate for this year. Tarrant's through. He's found a way through under braking into the complex. Jonesy down to second place. I don't think he's going to like that for very long. He's having a look up the inside. Does he get through? No, he doesn't. Here they come. It's the drag down the big start and finish straight. The new bike versus the old bike, and at the moment the old bike looks to be a well matched to the new bike. Remember, Jonesy on a 2004 machine, Tarrant on a 2002 machine. I think it's a 2002, I know it's a couple of years old. Might even be a 2001, I don't know. 23, that's John Carson. All Aprilia 1000 RSV Milles, these are 58 there, that's Tony Jones, Anthony Jones. He's running in the top 8 at the moment, but what's going on at the front? Is it Darren Jones that still leads, as Tarrant again found a way through on the back straight? There is Tarrant. Where is Jonesy? And he has. Yes, Tarrant's got through again. I thought that Jones had managed to get back at him, but he hasn't. 22 bike of Jason Dixon goes through as the rest scrap out for the remaining places. There's that 10 bike of Steve Kenworthy. Familiar blue machine. Easy to spot on the track. Thank you very much, Steve. 73, Mark Ramsboth, who in actual fact did crash early in the race, but has picked the bike back up again and got back into it. So well done. And here we go, and it looks like Jones has gone through again. Yes, he has. Darren Jones back into the lead. Tarrant going deep on the brakes there, but Jones is shutting the door on him. So Daniel Tarrant having to contend with the speed of that new Aprilia out front. I don't actually know if there is a lot of difference between the bikes, and I'm sure you guys could tell me. 64. He's still in there, still battling hard, Dylan Fox. Now I think Fox is now up to 3rd. I could be wrong. 28, I think that is, and that would be John Coughlin again. Here we go. These are the two out front. That is definitely Jonesy that leads it. Tarrant is there in second place, and these two, well, if Daniel can just get a little bit more out of that bike, I think we're going to see a really good scrap for the championship this year between these two. It's quite nice over this side of the circuit, but when they get the other side, it's a bit dark. That is, no, I think that's actually 3rd and 4th there. So Dylan Fox running 4th, number 10 Steve Kenworthy. That could still be Jason Dixon, the 22 bike, that's in there in 3rd. So as they settle themselves down, it's round again for another lap for Darren Jones. The number 2 bike of Daniel Tarrant still there in second place, chasing him down. So it's 64 and 22. Have we seen a change here? Yes, we have. Fox has gone up a place. 22 John Dixon dropping down to 4th. I don't know if he's got a problem with that bike, or whether the tyres are just beginning to go off. But they're still at it out front. Darren Jones 3, Daniel Tarrant 2. Both are, well, I'm not going to say identical bikes because they're not. One is a 2004, one is an older bike. Oh, and it's starting to rain. You can see it's starting to, oh dear. Wet weekend here again at Croft. It rained apparently the day before. And I can remember coming to Croft not so many years ago where they had to call the whole event off because all the roads were flooded and they couldn't get the ambulances in and out of the circuit because the roads were flooded. Well, we are in Yorkshire, I suppose, and this is April, so you must expect some April showers, but we're getting monsoons in for the moment. Oh, you saw it then, just a little flick there from Jones's bike. It's very slippery out on that track. They're running basically standard tyres. There's the new third place man, Dylan Fox, going quite nicely at the moment. He's steady. I don't think he's going to risk anything. Just keep the bike nice and steady. And the rain, well, it's just eased up on this side of the circuit. It's a bit sort of rainy. Yeah, it is still raining, but the sun's actually come out as well. So we've got a few rainbows. As the race leader starts to pick his way through the slower riders, this is where it can all go sadly wrong. There he's third place man. Yeah, the conditions really were not conducive to good racing. So rain, sun and rain. Oh, and it was a bit of snow. Oh, down goes number 6. Well, I think that's number 6. John Pugh, that would be. Well, he'll pick that back up again. Heavy old bike. But the order then at the end of the race was Darren Jones from Daniel Tarrant from Fox, Ken Worthy up there to 4th, John Curson, Mark Ramsbotham, Anthony Jones, Keith Pringle, Chris Norris and Doug Lowe rounded out the top 10. It was wet, it was windy, it wasn't nice, but Jonesy was smiling, so he should. He leads the championship. Well, welcome back here to Alton Park for our final look at this third round of the MRO Powerbike Tour. Daniel Tarrant on pole for the Aprilia ProTac Aprilia 1000 Mille Series. As we wait, and there is Darren Jones, number 3, who leads the standings coming here today. 50 points. Mark Ramsbotham in second place behind him. So as they get underway, who is it that gets the start? It's wet, it's windy, it's cold, and for bike racing it's downright horrible. It looks to me like Daniel Tarrant has got the drop on the rest. He's number 2 on the bike. It's a 2-year-old Aprilia 1000 RSV Mille. And Daniel, of course, finishing second last year. And Darren Jones, his nearest rival with the number 3 plate, of course, he finished third. It's between there. So there is Ramsbotham. That's the that's number 6 bike there of John Pugh from Birmingham going through. He had, I think, the 48th bike of Mark Hugenboom behind him. There he is, 48, Mark Hugenboom. Now that's a very unusual name. Next time I see him at Brands Hatch, I must ask him what nationality that name is associated with. Maybe Dutch or something, or double Dutch. There is the, well, I think that's 56 bike, yeah indeed, that's the 56 bike going through there of Dave Cambridge from Whitchurch. He's on the Spearmint Blue Aprilia. There's several of these lads here today. Keep an eye out for them, 57, 58 and 69. All appear to be all from Whitchurch. But it's number 2, Daniel Tarrant, that leads them through. Ramsbotham in second place at the moment, number 73. Then it is Darren Jones, the series leader. And you remember these two had a really good scrap at the previous round up there at Croft. And the result just going to Darren in the end. Darren, of course, winning the opening round and the second round. But at the moment, Daniel Tarrant, who missed round 1 due to the fact that he felt that he didn't have enough financial support to race this year. But he came back at round 2 on his 2-year-old bike and has certainly shown you don't need a new bike to do it on. I have to say Darren Jones is out on his last year's bike today. He's left his new bike in the garage. It's too wet and slippery, doesn't want to risk getting scratched. I don't blame you, Darren. They're not exactly cheap, are they? Remember, the guy that wins this series gets a brand new one from Aprilia at the end of the season. Up the hill they go once again towards the back of the circuit, and then they'll come back around down the start and finish straight. That's number 10 there, Steve Kenworthy from Pembury, and that's the number 57 bike of Stephen Speed from Whitchurch. That's another one of those little group of lads that come all the way from Whitchurch, either the one in Shropshire or the one in Dorset. There's several Whitchurches around the UK, but if it's the one from Shrewsbury, that'll of course be the one right by the famous Hawkstone Park motocross circuit. No change at the moment with the top 3. It's still number 2 Tarrant that leads it. 48 is still the man there in 4th place at the moment, Mark Hugenboom. So Tarrant on the number 2 bike. Oh, and that was nearly all over for Daniel there. Power was on a little bit too soon. Ramsbotham still there second, with Dazza Jones still there on the number 3 bike in third. So they come down the hill into His's. This is the new chicane named after the late great Steve Hislop, who tragically lost his life in a helicopter accident last year. It certainly wasn't a good year for us last year, was it? What with David Jeffries and Barry Sheen, of course. We've lost some great names to racing. But we all move on and forward and remember them with passion and respect. That could be the number, well, I'm not sure who that is. That could be 28. Got 2 one side, 8 the other. Yeah, that's John Cogland from East Grinstead. He should be used to this wet weather, it's always raining up there. That's the number 81 bike there going through, and that's Sean Sutton from, Whitchurch again. I think they've all come from Whitchurch today. Probably wish they were back up in Whitchurch. It's actually not far from Alton Park, so it's only just down the road, so that's why they're all here. Not far, that they've probably ridden their bikes here. Daniel Tarrant still leads this Aprilia race. The battle is still on for second, and it still rams both them from Dazza Jones. There he is. And the 48 bike still there in 4th place at the moment. So it's Tarrant now. Will he get the back end slithering up this time? Oh no, a little bit gentle on the power this time. It's very, very slippery out there. This is the battle for second. It's still Dazza Jones in 3rd. That is 77. Well, there he is. That's Mr. Dibble, Officer Dibble, and he's just gone a lap down on the first 3. So come on, Dave, stop mucking around out there. He's a very nice bloke, I can assure you that. 23 just going through there. That's John Carson from Inverness. He's travelled an awful long way. Struth. Probably raining up there as well. There's Daniel Tarrant. Well, Tarry said, I think I can maybe win it this year. Bad news for Darren Jones, because I think he had the feeling he was going to walk away with this. That looks like 4th. That could be the new 5th place man. Tarrant still leads it as they come into Falstons here, up towards Hilltop and down the other side into Izzy's. 2nd place, is it still Ramsbotham? No, it's not. Dazza Jones has gone into 2nd. Now can he catch the man out front? That man, Daniel Tarrant. Well, it's not the best of days to be racing hard on any track. It's very wet, very, very slippery out there. There is Darren Jones, and already the gap beginning to narrow between himself and the leader, but Mark Ramsbotham there in 3rd place. That's number 62 going through. That's Tony McBride, the husband of one of our willing workers here. She's always on the start line. That's the lady with the blonde hair. You'll see her on the start line quite often. This looks like, well, is this 71? Yes, it is. That's Mark Chapman from Northwich. Again, just up the road from the circuit here at Alton Park. Remember, Alton Park is in Cheshire. And under new management now, of course, from Jonathan Palmer. Jonathan has assured us that nothing will change. That bikes will be just as important to him as car racing. And I actually believe him, because he seems to be quite a nice bloke. In fact, he offered to buy me a pint, so you can't go wrong with that, can you? 16 coming up the hill here, that's Doug Lowe, Burton-on-Trent, with the 53 bike behind him at the moment, just going through as we look a little further back. There's Tarrant, so already in amongst the back markers. This is when it can all go wrong. There's Jonesy, there's Ramsbotham, and Ramsbotham is, well, he's not letting Jonesy get away at all. So we may yet see a bit of a scrap on for 2nd place between those two, but Daniel Tarrant just taking it nice and steady at the moment. There's that 62 bike again just going through of Tony McBride. Tony taking it equally just as easy. Here they come. That is Tarrant down Lakeside. And it is aptly named today, I must add, Lakeside, because it looks like a river. There is a lake right beside it. That's how it got its name. There is the leader through Falstons. Where is 2nd? That's a back marker, number 81. There is 2nd. There is 3rd, 3 and 73. So Mark Ramsbotham hasn't given this up. We're looking back now to 4th. Is this a new 4th place man? I think it is. Yeah, Paul Rogers has taken 4th. Then we got 53. Looking for, there's the 48 bike of the original 4th place man. He's dropped off the pace just a little bit as the rest of the field come through. But down the hill into his is once again comes our race leader, Daniel Tarrant. Remember, this is a one-make series. They're all Aprilia 1000s, RSV Aprilia 1000s. Road bikes, they're not permitted to change anything on the bike other than the what they call the race can and the chip. They are treaded tyres, and this series is sponsored now by Protec. There is that 48 bike going through once again of Mark Hugenboon. Comes from Melton Mowbray. Well, anyway, checker flag went out. It was a win for Daniel Tarrant. The bad news is that poor Mark Ramsbotham crashed trying to overtake Darren Jones. So Darren Jones took second from Paul Rogers, Tony McBride, Mark Hugenboon, Chris Norris, John Coughlin, Ben Carter, James Archer, Mark Chapman there in 10th place. Well, that's it from Alton Park. We go to Brands for round 4. Hope you can see you there. Welcome back then, here we are, this is Brands Hatch round 4 of the MRO Powerbike Tour. This time it's the Aprilia 1000 or the Aprilia RSV Mille. Mille of course being 1000 in Italian. The battle is really on at the front between Darren Jones at the moment and of course Daniel Tarrant, 70 to 45. There is Tarrant. Jonesy, second round of the grid. What's going on with you? Well, Darren, you're still leading the championship, but Daniel's putting you under some pressure.
He is indeed. I think at Croft I said how pleased I was to see the return of Dan Tarrant to the series. I now wish I'd never said that, but yeah, he's put me under a lot of pressure.
Now, are you on the new bike this weekend, or are you on last year's bike?
Yeah, I confused you, didn't I, a little bit, Alton. It depends on the weather, really. If every time it rains, I go out on the old bike. It's like a nice pair of old comfy slippers. But you know, hopefully with the weather being like this, I'll be on the new bike.
What's your time so far out there?
Not too good. I went out yesterday morning and I was just trying to learn the tracks. I've not done the Grand Prix circuit since 1999, and that was on a 250, so I had to reacquaint myself with the track again. But in the afternoon we had brake problems, so I went backwards. I really struggled and went on the grass a few times. So we think we've fixed the brake problems, but we'll not know now, so we've got for qualifying.
Will only slow you down.
Well, yeah, and it's useful as well at times.
It's better than the gravel trap.
It is indeed, yeah.
Less expensive. But the question now we've got, I mean, see, Daniel's creeping up behind you. You've either got to keep winning or you've got to keep finishing at least second, haven't you?
That's
to hold that lead in the championship.
Yeah, if Dan wins, I've done the maths already, it's silly, isn't it? But if he wins them all and I'm second, he's going to win the title. I've just got to follow him round, really. But the thing is with racing, it's so unpredictable, anything can happen. One DNF and I'm back to where I was.
So really, we don't want to see a repeat of what happened at Brands Hatch here last year for the championship?
No, not at all. The pressure then was incredible. I had to keep Dan behind me, and I had +0 on my board for 12 laps, and then I made a mistake, as you spotted on the TV. Dan came by, broke the lap record. I did my best to keep with him. We actually reeled Warren in on that race, but no, I don't want that pressure again.
Well, today's another day.
Yeah.
There's 25 points out there to be taken.
Yep.
It's all between you and the Danny boy.
Thanks for that pressure, Kenny.
Best of luck.
Cheers, mate.
I'll have to put Darren Jones under pressure. So Dazza and Tazza. Daniel Tarrant on the front row of the grid, and Darren Jones on the second row of the grid, so qualifying wasn't so good for him. He did find some brakes in the end, incidentally. Borrowed them off somebody else. Who is in the lead? Well, getting off the start is the problem for Darren Jones. Number 3, he leads. It's Daniel Tarrant there, number 2 in second place as the rest of the field come through. It's 70 points to Darren Jones in the championship coming here today, with Daniel Tarrant back on 45. Mark Ramsbotham on 30, with Paul Rogers on 26. So that's the top 4. Keep an eye on that 19 bike going through there. That's Mark Compton. Now I'm looking down the list, and Mark at the moment doesn't figure in the top 10. So this could be a good ride for him today, but it's Jonesy that leads it. Tarrant in second, then I think that's Ramsbotham. There is Compton, number 19, on that, well, why would you describe that? Peppermint spearmint coloured machine? Oh, I don't suppose you would. Certainly easily distinguishable amongst all these other Aprilias. One thing about this series, you're not allowed to tamper too much with the bikes, but you can have it any colour you want, as long as it's an Aprilia. And for those eagle-eyed racers out there, you'll notice that we're using the Grand Prix circuit, which is something we don't normally use in the Powerbike Tour meeting. On to the start and finish straight. Once again they come. It's still Darren Jones and Tarrant, and it's that 19 bike there coming through of Mark Compton. Keep an eye out for the 28 bike of John Coughlin, and of course the 73 bike of Mark Ramsbotham. Oh, he went wide there, did Compton. So there is that 73 bike we just mentioned of Mark Ramsbotham, third in the series coming here today. Oh, someone just had it sat up just momentarily. We've got someone in the gravel trap, can't see who it is at the moment until the marshals step aside. We can have a look at the number on the bike. Oh, okay. Don't give us a look at the number on the bike. Whoever you are, you've got going again. That's the most important thing. Could be 78. I'm not absolutely sure. Could be Keith Clark, that 78. Here we go. Tarrett's having a look up the inside. There is Ramsbotham 73 in 4th. What's going on at the front? Remember, we're on the Grand Prix circuit here for the first time ever that I can remember, and some of these lads probably would have never actually ridden round it. So that looks like the 79 bike there going through. Yes, it is. That's Ian Mills. So there, he's having a good ride. He's got a novice bib on, but he's still enjoying himself out there, and that's the all-important thing. But who's in the lead? Oh, and we've seen a change. Compton has gone up to 2nd then. So it's all going up the front. Daniel Tarrant on the older of the 2 bikes. Darren Jones, of course, on the newer bike. Number 10 there going through. Steve Kenworthy. Yeah, Darren rides a 2004 bike, and Daniel rides a 2002 bike. Have we got a change at the front? Yes, we have. Compton's gone into the lead. Jonesy now back into 2nd place. I must just point out that Darren Jones has got a sticker on his fairing just above his clocks, his rev counter, that says turn left. And you're wondering why he's got it there. Well, the reason for that is when you come here, normally these guys would turn right on the short circuit, but they have to turn left to go up onto the GP circuit. And Darren, being Darren, had to put a sticker on there to remind himself. But there you go, little story worth telling. So as the rest of the field make their way through, have we any changes at the front? Some of the slower riders that have come into this series. It is a very, it's an economical series to ride, 1 make series. You're only allowed to do minimal amount of work on the bike. Jonesy, I think, has gone, yes, back into the lead. Tarrant has gone to 2nd. Compton back to 3rd. That looks like the 28 bike there of John Coughlin that has gone through in 4th. So we've seemed to have lost Mark Ramsbotham somewhere. Some of the back markers coming through. That looks like 72 indeed. That is Dave Ricketts. So he's having his own little war out there at the moment with 3 other riders. It is competitive right down through the field, but here is where the championship is at, and Daniel Tarrant has a look up the inside of Jonesy and makes a clean pass on him. That 19 bike of Mark Compton sits back there in 3rd. Here they come. There is that 28 bike going through of John Coughlin as the rest of the field come pouring through. And Jonesy having another look. It's, oh, and there is Ramsbotham, number 73. He is still in there. Well, I thought we'd lost him momentarily, but he must have just nipped through before the camera caught him. There's the 13 bike going through there momentarily there. And that, according to my information, is Wade Martin from Basingstoke. So here they come, and they are swapping places at the front. They're all running on controlled tyres. They're allowed to change the chip, the mapping chip on the bike, and they're also allowed to change the silencers. But that's about it, really. Not really allowed to do much else apart from that. So it's Tarrant that leads it now. Daniel Tarrant, 2nd in the championship. Look at this scrap going on for 3rd place at the moment. Still 28 is in there and chasing hard. John Coughlin from East Grinstead on the bike world Aprilia. They're all Aprilia 1000s, RSVs. Another good scrap here. 16 still leads Doug Lowe, Burton-on-Trent based rider. Leads that little group. As I said, they battle right down through the field. Points down to 15th place. The winner of this series at the end of the year gets a brand new Aprilia RSV Mille. Not a bad thing, eh? It's about 10,000 quid worth of the bike you get for free off Aprilia. 62 leading this little group through. Tony McBride from Basingstoke on the Carrot Top Racing machine. Of course, his wife Carol works with the pit crew. She's actually on I think pit duty today, pit lane duty. Here's that tussle at the front. Jonesy's still looking to get past Tarrant. Wants to make it a well, lost somebody, and that's the 19 bike. Yes, we lost him. Mark Compton, the Farnham based rider, he's made a mistake, slid off the track, and I tend to feel that's his day run. He's not going to get out of there too easily. Whether he's damaged the machine or not, no, he's given that up. It's still Tarrant, it's still Jonesy, so Dazza and Tazza going at it neck and neck once again, and Darren, of course, remembering to turn left. Good on you, Darren. It's probably why I ended up in the grass so many times earlier on in the day, forgetting to turn left. Quite a few riders took a tumble on this particular corner, and that's because they're so used to turning right on the short circuit. It's still Tazza that leads, and Dazza is still behind him, so Daniel Tarrant from Darren Jones, neck and neck. It's between these two. As Darren says, he's done the arithmetic and he needs to win races. 66 going through there. That's Stuart McClure from Coventry on the MC Warehouse Cannock Aprilia. Here they come once again, and it's Darren Jones back in front. Jonesy trying to make a break for it now, wants to obviously get Tarrant to cook his tyres a little bit. So Jonesy, yes indeed, beginning to pull a gap as they go through the start and finish once again to complete another lap and start a new lap. And there is the last lap flag. So if Daniel Tarrant's going to do anything, he's got to do it now. Here comes Darren Jones, number 3. He's in the lead. Back markers directly in front of him. That's second place. We're looking for third. Well, it should be 73 Mark Ramsbotham. Looking a little further down the field, that is the 62 bike once again of Tony Bride. Here's a little battle going on here. I think that was the 38 bike of Chris Norris from Stockport in amongst that group. Oh, and here he is, number 77. Well, this is Dave Dibble from Fleet. Officer Dibble out there on patrol once again. He's enjoyed himself, and that's all what it's about. Here comes the race leader, Darren Jones, on course for 25 points to add to his 70 that he already has. If he keeps this up, he should take the championship this year and get that brand new bike at the dinner and dance at the end of the year. That looks like 56 going through there. Indeed it is. That's Dave Cambridge and from Whitchurch on the Spearmint Blue machine. Why don't they paint theirs Spearmint Blue? Would have looked good, wouldn't it? There's a whole team of them out there, you know. Here they come. Rest of the field coming through. And we've got a faller. I'm not sure. I think that might be Stuart Speed that's just gone off. 57. Well, whoever it is, he went down with a clatter, but that's Darren Jones. He wins the race. Daniel Tarrant in second for Mark Ramsbotham, John Coughlin. Then it's Ben Garner, Dylan Fox, Wade Martin, Tony McBride there, Chris Norris and John Carson in 10th. There is Dazza Jones, and guess what they're going to do to him now? Tracy runs away, and the reason why is because he's about to get a shampoo. A champagne shampoo. Gone! So, welcome back to Pembury, and well, while you're away, the heavens opened, the rain has started to fall. Well, that's no surprise, because these are the Aprilia Thousands, and there he is, Daniel Tarrant, alongside series leader Darren Jones. Darren, of course, 95 points against Daniel Tarrant, 65 points. So it's the Dazza Tazza show once again. Number 73 there, Mark Ramsbotham. He's third with 46 points in the standings. 28 John Coughlin beside him with 36 points. The lights have gone to green. Now, as you can see, weather conditions have slightly changed. Always seems to happen when the Aprilia Thousands come out. It's like when we used to have sidecar racing. It always seemed to rain. I don't know why, but there you are. So they pick their way very gingerly through. Now, who is it that leads? That looks like Ramsbotham there in second. Is is Darren Jones that leads? That looks like Daniel Tarrant in third. So at the moment, Tarrant, remember, has to keep winning races. If he wins all the rounds now, right to the final round, he will finish in front of Darren Jones, which will be the same order as they finished last year. And at the moment, that is Darren Jones on that number 3 bike that leads it through. Ramsbotham behind him in second. Then it's the 2 bike of Daniel Tarrant. So it's then it looks like the 60 bike. Yeah, it is. That's Paul Rogers from Basingstoke going through there. On that 60 bike, it's drizzling quite nicely at the moment. For those of you who can see the water on the camera lens, and you can actually hear it. Well, you can hear the rain bouncing off the camera water cover. Doug Lowe, they're number 16 from Burton-on-Trent. So these lads having to take it a little easy. Sounds like we've got an aeroplane about to land, but not on the circuit, hopefully. 3 leads. 2 there is in third. Then it's number 60 in fourth. So Daniel Tarrant from Melton Mowbray. These are all Aprilia RSV Mille machines, all 1000cc. Controlled tyres. Not allowed to tune the bikes. Only allowed to change the end cam and the chip, as they say. So here they come. Big, powerful bikes. It's a one-make series. Been very popular over the last few years. The winner of the series gets a brand new bike as his reward at the end of the year. So at the moment, Darren Jones and Daniel Tarrant scrapping over that new bike. And the number 60 bike, once again, a Paul Rogers there. A Dynatec machine, incidentally. I don't know why Dynatec, because they're not really supposed to do any tuning to the bikes. 13. Wade Martin, another Basingstoke rider, Brackenwood Windows sponsored. So here they come. Now, have we got to change it? I think we've got to change out front because Ramsbotham has gone to the front. Well, this is something we don't often see from Mark. He usually trails around second and third with either Tarrant or Jonesy, but he's out front, so he obviously likes these slip wet conditions. Up at Alton Park, he made a rather large mistake at the closing lap and binned the bike completely. And he was chasing, I think, for that second spot. So here we go. Looks like Ramsbotham that's there, and it is Jones there that's in second, Tarrant that's in third. The 60 bike is still there, but beginning to drop off, and here comes Darren Jones. So the Dazza and Tazza show once again on form. And is Jonesy gone through? No. I think he thought better of that one. It's going to be slippery out there at the moment. These weather conditions are really not that conducive to racing, as these big 1000cc Aprilia machines pick their way through. There's a dry line beginning to come through, but Ramsbotham it is. But so far he's the braver man on the throttle and on the brakes, and Daniel Tarrant sitting back there in third, just shadowing his nemesis Darren Jones out front in second. So that's the 13 bike once again going through of Wade Martin. So he's taking it quite gingerly at the moment. You don't really want to chuck it down the road. These things cost about 10,000 quid to buy these bikes. They are predominantly road bikes, but they just obviously take all the lights and bits and pieces off they don't need and put a race fairing on. Here they come, and Tarrant it is that's chasing Jonesy. So this is the battle for the championship between these two and that new Aprilia bike at the end of it. At the moment, Mark Ramsbotham in third in the standings, but a long way points-wise behind the two behind him at the moment on the track. So they won't really worry too much about what he's doing, because it's a question of finishing in front of each other. 25 points for the win, remember, 20 for second, 16 for third. So whichever way it goes, it's either 5 or it's 4 points, the difference going into the next round, which of course is at Brands Hatch, and we'll be there as always to cover it. So Ramsbotham, it's still raining, you can hear the rain just pitty-patting off the wet cover on our camera. That's that fourth place man, number 60, Paul Rogers. As the rest on, here comes now, what's Daniel Tarrant going to do? Now, Daniel riding a bit of an old bike, a couple of years old, this machine, and Darren Jones has got 2 bikes to choose from. He's got his new bike from this year and he's got his old bike from last year. 16 going through there. Doug Lowe, Burton-on-Trent. Oh, a change out front, and Darren Jones has decided in order to ensure that he gets that new bike for the end of this year, he's going to have to win this race, and he's gone past Mark Ramsbotham to take the lead. Now Daniel Tarrant's going to have to go with him. 66. That's Stuart McClure from commentary on the MC Warehouse Canuck Aprilia. And you can hear that rain, it's getting a little heavier. In fact, it's getting a lot heavier. It won't be pleasant, and Ramsbotham having a look back up to the front again. Now, obviously, Mark Ramsbotham likes the rain. Have we seen a change in second? That's Tarrant. No, it's still... No, Jonesy goes back into the lead once again. So, Darren Jones, of course, an instructor with the Ron Haslam Racing School. And I believe Daniel Tarrant goes up there as well. So these two guys could teach you a thing or two. Number 60, Paul Rogers there. He's still plugging away in 4th place. This is the battle out front, and Ramsbotham once again has found a way through. So I hope Mark doesn't end up binning this, either win or bin as far as this guy's concerned sometimes. He's binned it at Alton Park, so let's hope he doesn't do it here. Number 10 going through, and that's, of course, Steve Kenworthy from Pembury. Now, whether that's Pembury here or Pembury down on the East Coast, I'm not so sure, as I don't know Steve that well. Ton Hire are his sponsors, or Tone Hire. Ah, now there's Tarrant. These are the guys that are racing for the lower positions, number 16 being one of them. We're waiting, I think. Well, there's Tarrant. Tarrant's going to win this. Tarrant's gone through. Yes, indeed. Daniel Tarrant has snuck through and beaten Darren Jones there. And Mark Ramsbotham held on to that third from Paul Rogers. Another Dynatech machine. Wade Martin, Mark Hoganboom, Dylan Fox, Steve Kenworthy, Jason Dixon, Ian Miles there in 10th. Welcome back here then to Brands Hatch. These are the Aprilia RSV Mille, and number 2, it is Daniel Tarrant on pole over Darren Jones there in second, but he took a win at Pembury. Can he do it here?
Yeah, it was a good race. We just lined up in the collecting area, started spitting with rain. The Let's Change tyres went out on wets, and yeah, we closed. There were Darren, me and Mark Ramsbotham. I just sat in third place the whole race, and luckily I got by on the last lap. Just got through to the win, so I'm well pleased with that.
Well, an exciting one there. We're at Brands today, and it looks like rain.
It does. Every time I got on it this year, it's rained. We changed tyres this year, and I've not really got used to them. Every time it just keeps raining, so yeah. But if it rains, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't seem to care, does he? Mark Compton, number 19, there, fourth on the grid. And he'll be looking for a good result there. Under starters orders, of course, Darren Jones is on that number 3 bike that leads the series with 115 points. 25 points behind is that number 2 pole sitter, Daniel Tarrant. Mark Ramsbotham, I'll have a job getting that one out. Mark Ramsbotham sits there in third in the standings with 62, 28 points behind Tarrant. So it is Jonesy. So it's Dazza and Tazza once again out there doing battle. And it is it's Dazza at the moment that leads. Number 3, Darren Jones then. These are all Aprilia RSV 1000cc machines. Very little, they're on controlled tyres again. It's the ProTech Aprilia RSV 1000 series. And it is Darren Jones and it is Daniel Tarrant that's there in second. I think it was Ramsbotham that was there in third along with Compton. So yes, it is 73. Mark Ramsbotham. So Darren Jones leads. It's Dazza out front and Daniel Tarrant, Tazza in second place. Next time you see these guys, don't forget it's Dazza and Tazza. These two have been banging handlebars basically throughout the start of the season. Remember last year it was here at Brands Hatch that Daniel Tarrant just nipped in front of Jonesy to take second place in the championship. So these two, of course, both sights set firmly on that brand new Aprilia bike at the end of the year. As the rest of the field come through, Dylan Fox in amongst that group there, and Dylan, of course, fourth in the standings coming in today, 42 points, with Paul Rogers behind him on 39. So although the pair out front are pretty well sorted out, the rest of the field have got a lot to. In fact, between 10 and 5th, no 4th actually. It's only a matter of about 7 or 8 points, so it can go anyway. 99 there, coming through with number 80 behind him. That's Scott Bingley. 99 is Chris Richardson. Here we go. It's still Daniel Tarrant. I believe that Tazza is just sitting there waiting for Jonesy to make a small mistake, and he's going to pounce like a waiting tiger. We'll wait and see, because Mark Ramsbotham is back there in third. It's where he seems to have spent a great deal of the season back in third behind these two. But if either of those two up front make a small mistake, old Ramsbotham is straight through, nicks second place. I'd love to see him get a win actually. I can't see that happening. Not if these two up front have got anything to do with it. Darren Jones with the back end of the bike squirreling around there going into the hairpin, so he is being pushed by Daniel Tarrant for sure, no doubt about that. There's a lot of pressure being applied. Here comes Tarrant again. Remember, Daniel riding the 2-year-old Aprilia as against Jonesy that's on the new one. So it just goes to show, new or second hand, it doesn't seem to make any difference. It's how you twist the right grip that makes all the difference. And they're quick bikes, make a lovely road bike, these two. Those of you out there that are feckling the thought of buying yourself a new road bike, you can't go wrong with one of these. They are a work of art, a piece of Italian style. It's still Tarrant there in second. It's still Jones in the lead. It's still Ramsbotham back there in third. And it's still Compton back there in fourth. I have a feeling that Dazza knows that Tarrant is there. Darren Jones is aware, he can hear that bike right behind him. And I don't think he's actually looked over his shoulder as yet. He's he's going to get the eyes of Daniel Tarrant right through into him if he does. 43 there going through. That's John Chambers. And Chambers having a good ride at the moment, looking to pick up a place. Any changes out front? No, it's still Tarrant second, Jones in the lead. Ramsbotham beginning to close up on these two. So Mark really, he really has started to settle down in this series, and he started to give these two a little bit of a worrying situation. They can't afford to get out of shape and make mistakes, because Mr. Ramsbotham will say thank you, second would be nice, a win would be even better. Maybe it'll come before the end of the season. Hasten, I think that maybe once they've sorted out the championship, these two out front, they're going to let young Mark Ramsbotham maybe win the last race of the season. But I doubt if that's going to happen. Jones it is, Darren Jones, number 3, has led basically from the turn of the lights. Daniel Tarrant on the number 2 bike, hanging on in second place, but he is applying the pressure, corner to corner, just keeps sticking that front wheel up alongside Jones's bike to let Jones know that he is there. And while these two are squabbling over that first place, and Tarrant having a look up the inside, Mark Ramsbotham on that 73 machine is beginning to close up on them. So any small mistake and old Rambo's going to be straight through. Here they come. Well, now it's all about 3 of them for the win here. So it's Tazza, and now we've got Rambo back there in third, putting the pressure on. 64 there, Dylan Fox, as the rest of the field make their way gingerly down. That looks like 38 there that's just gone through. Chris Norris. There is 78, and that is Keith Clark. So as the tail-enders have their little bit of fun, we're back at the front once again. Any changes? No. Tazza and Rambo. Sounds more like a firm of solicitors, doesn't it? Here they come, but at the moment, oh, and Ramsbotham's having a look. He's having a look. Is he going to make this one stick? Oh, I think he has. They come up to the hairpin. Yes. Ramsbotham has gone through. Mr. Ramsbotham will be looking now for maybe his first win of the year. Steve Kenworthy there on the number 10 bike. Here they come. It's still Darren Jones that leads it. From Mark Ramsbotham there in second place. So Dazza, Rambo and Tazza now. And the camaraderie between these lads is quite extraordinary in the paddock, you know. All the best of mates. 64, Dylan Fox. And Dylan, well, under a bit of pressure there at the moment. Everybody's safely through. Here comes the leading group. Oh, we've got a change in the front. Ramsbotham has found a way past Darren Jones. Now, I know what Jones is going to say to me afterwards. There's 4th place. That's Paul Rogers. He's under pressure as well. I can see Compton in there. Jones will say to me afterwards, well, I just thought I'd let him have a little bit of a run out front and I'll just follow him and overtake him to win. That's what Jones will say to me afterwards. But I think Mark Ramsbotham has upped his game a little bit, has turned up the wick, and has now decided, I'm fed up with finishing behind you two. It's now my turn to stand on the top step of the podium. 60, that's 4th place. Then we've got 28 going through there. John Coughlin. Now, any changes out front as they come back up towards the hairpin? Yeah! Jonesy has said, hey, I've had enough of this. I'm not going to finish behind you. Yellow flag has gone out. We've got a faller over there. Can't see who it is, but someone's gone down, and this could really alter the situation of the race. But it's got Jonesy now beginning to pull away. So he's decided that he doesn't want to play anymore with the other two. And Tarrant has gone back through into second place. So Mark Ramsbotham, Rambo's little short-lived glory at the front, is all over. 4th place man. Still Paul Rogers. Compton still behind him. So it's not all over. It's still a lot going on further down the field. Now, where are the leading groups? There's 79, Ian Mills, and there is the leader, Darren Jones, the motorcycle training instructor at Ron Haslam's motorcycle school, road racing school. Apparently Daniel Tarrant does a bit up there as well. So next time you see him, guys, say hi, Dazza. Where's Tazza? Looks like Jones has got this one pretty well in the bag now, pulling already quite a considerable gap over the chasing two. Paul Rogers still sits back there in 4th place and very much on his own now, so he just has to keep that one on the tarmac, and I think he should come home with those points. Here we go once again. That is Jones. There is a back marker between them. Looks like Ian Mills. It is. So, and Daniel Tarrant mercifully going up the underneath of him. So, lucky to hang on to that. Here comes Jones. I think Tarrant is having a try to get back on terms with Jones. So, using those back markers to good thing. And there is Tarrant. Oh, he's lost it. He's gone down too much too soon on the throttle. The back end, and he's clearly not very happy about that situation. Gravel flying everywhere. Let's take a look at that if we can in slow motion. Just watch that back wheel start to slide out. There, the power going on. The back's starting to go. He knows it's gone. And at this point, it's time to get off and sit that one out. And off he goes, rider and bike into the gravel trap. Well, that's about it then, I think, for his chances of the championship. There is Jonesy out front. He knows that the pressure is off, and he also knows that the man behind him in the championship has just lost himself 20 points. So that makes Mark's Ramsbotham. There is Daniel Tarrant. Is okay, pretty dejected, but okay, that's the main thing. He walks off into the sunset, as one would say, as Darren Jones comes round on the final lap. Next thing he'll see will be the checkered flag and the points, which he knows will be, it certainly won't tie up the championship yet because there's still a long way to go, but he knows he's now got a very useful gap. Here he comes. Checkered flag then for Darren Jones. Second then should be Mark Ramsbotham. Indeed it is. Up then to third goes Paul Rogers, but Jonesy clearly delighted, and so is Rambo Ramsbotham also delighted with that second place, courtesy of Tarrant. But that's the way it goes in road racing. Make a mistake and you're on your butt. Third place man number 60, fourth place man John Coughlin, fifth place Mark Compton there. And of course Mark wanted to shake hands with the man in front, but he's having none of it. So there you are, confirmed result. Jones, Ramsbotham, Rogers, Coughlin, Compton, Fox, Hugenboom there, and Wayne Martin, Steve Kenworthy and Chris Norris down there in 10th. Welcome back here then to Cadwell Park. These are the Aprilia RSV Mille, and there is Darren Jones. Give us a wave, Darren. He leads the series on 140 points. The nearest man to him is Daniel Tarrant, number 2 on 90. Then we got Mark Ramsbotham on 82 points. And there's Roger Rabbit, but he's missed the start, but they're away, and it's Ramsbotham that leads. So I've got a feeling that Mr. Ramsbotham has brought one of his mates with him to watch. Rammy Rabbit. But it is Mark Ramsbotham that leads them through on the first lap. These big Aprilia machines are all 1000cc. There is Daniel Tarrant, second in the championship, coming here today, 90 points with Mark Ramsbotham, who currently leads the race on 82. Paul Rogers is in fourth with 55 points. But it is a big wheelie there from Ramsbotham, a big handful of bike. Jonesy behind him. Qualifying was Darren Jones from Mark Ramsbotham from Paul Rogers. That was the top three, with John Coughlin there, number 28. That made up the front row of the grid in qualifying. So lap times of 1:38.56, 79, well, nearly 80 miles an hour average speed. So pretty quick for these guys. But it is Rammy Ramsbotham. We actually did get an email from his wife Sarah saying that whether we were going to nickname him Razza, because we do have Dazza and Tazza, but no, Sarah, we won't call him Razza, we'll call him Rammy as you instructed. Okay, she'll be happy with that. Number 10 goes through there. That's Steve Kenworthy, but the battle is on out front, and Jonesy has gone past Ramsbotham. He now leads. So Darren Jones with 2 more rounds to go after this one. Silverstone, 3 actually, Silverstone, Brands, Lytton and then Brands Hatch. I just have to think in my mind where they all are. So still a chance for Darren Jones to get pipped to the post in this championship if he doesn't finish the next 3 races. Daniel Tarrant, of course, the man that beat him last year, hence the number 2 and number 3 plates on the bike, and Darren Jones looking to win this year and get, of course, his brand new Aprilia RSV Mille, given to him courtesy of Aprilia for winning the series. Looks like we won't have the Aprilias with us next year. Looks like we're going to have a Super Twin class. which of course will include Ducatis and everything. Number 60, that's Paul Rogers. Very twisty track here at Cadwell Park for these big bikes. Have to work very hard to keep them on the track. Remember, they're basically standard machines. It's a one make class, limited one make class I have to say. They're not permitted to carry out too much in the way of modifications to the machines. Here they come once again. The ProTech Aprilia RS3000 class. Darren Jones leads. Mark Ramsbotham there in second place. And looking a little bit further back if we may. No, we're going to stay with the leaders at the moment. There's first. Well, that looks like 46. Well, that would be Mark Hugenboom. And with a name like that, he has to have some sort of a Dutch or South African heritage. He does come from Melton Mowbray, so that may have something to do with it. It's a very nice place, Melton Mowbray. I went through it once. It was closed. So there he is in third place. He still has that number 60 bike behind him of Paul Rogers from Basingstoke. That's another Dynatech machine, so the lads have been busy on the engine tuning front. And there is Mr. Hugenboom. We haven't thought of a nickname for him yet, so perhaps someone would like to send them some suggestions either by email or on a postcard. 16 going through, Doug Lowe from Burton-on-Trent. A little bit further down the field. As the leaders come through, it's still Darren Jones from Chesterfield on the Speedway Motorcycles Aprilia out front. Still got Mark Ramsbotham there tucked up alongside him from Weymondenham, I think it's pronounced. I'm sure his wife will let me know if it's wrong. There they go, and if Ramsbotham was to win here today, that would be his first win of the series. Jonesy, of course, has been the front runner right from the first round, with Daniel Tarrant missing the first couple of rounds, of course, because he decided not to race. Oh, that could be the man. Yes, it is. So Tarrant just sneaks through into third place. Number 10, Steve Kenworthy from Pembury on the ton higher Aprilia. So Tarrant, as I said, missed the first two rounds. He decided he wasn't going to race, and then he came to Croft and thought, no, hang on a minute, I'm missing out here. He's got a bike that's now 2 years old, so he thought perhaps he wouldn't be too competitive, but he is. Crashed out at one of the last rounds. It was Brands Hatch, of course. He did that in style. This looks like 78 and 60. Yeah, that's 78. That is Keith Clark from Chelmsford. And the bike behind him battling hard, of course. Here they come, the front runners. One I haven't noticed out there, I'm not sure whether he's racing it today, and that is number 6. He is out there, 77. Our old friend Dave Dibble. He's out there somewhere. Keep an eye out for Dave. He'll be giving it all he's got. These guys are certainly giving it all they've got. Ramsbotham looking for a way up the inside of Jonesy. Tarrant sits back there. No, he didn't make it through that time. And Tarrant's closing up on those two, so we could see a pass any time now. Tarrant didn't get a good start. Another good scrap here between 78 and 23. That's John Carlson. And of course, 78 Keith Clark. As this little group all lining up for a better position. But here come the race leaders. Darren Jones, Dazza Jones with Rami Ramsbotham there in second place, and Daniel the Tazza Tarrant closing up in third. So it's Tazza, Razza and Dazza. Sorry Sarah, I just couldn't resist it. As the rest of the field come through, a big wheelie there from Stuart McClure from Coventry, 66. It's so easy to get the front end of the bike light when you come up over that little bit there, up onto the mountain section. And here they come. And it's still Darren Jones that leads it from Mark Ramsbotham, 73. Then Daniel Tarrant, number 2. No number 1 this year, of course. The man that won it last year deciding to race in the British Superstock Series. But this will be the last year that we see this one-make Aprilia class, because next year we will have a Super Twin class to replace this particular group of boys. I'm sure many of these lads will ride in that particular class anyway. We saw that when we lost the Aprilia 250s. We saw the 400 class emerge, and I have to say it's been a great class. 78. All good scrap on here, and it looks 33. There's Dave Dibble. Oh, what are you doing, Dave? You're getting in everybody's way. 77, Officer Dibble there, causing a traffic jam. Well, he didn't fall off the bike. That's one good thing. Back at the front, and then he changes. No, it's Mark Ramsbotham. So it's getting all. Officer Dibble's getting me carried away here. So we've got a change out front. Jonesy now back in the second. So we've got Dazza and Tazza charging for second place, and Razza out front. Rami Ramsbotham, 78, leads this one now, and if he wins this, it really will be party time tonight for those guys. I think the champagne will be out, that's for sure. It'll be the first time he's won a race this year, and he really rightly deserves a chance to do it. And look at this, Tarrett's gone past the two of them, and Ramsbotham's coming back at him. Well, it's all starting to hot up now, and Jonesy's sitting there waiting for a chance, and it's Tarrett. Well, I think someone's lit a burner underneath his back wheel or something, or somewhere, because he's really stepped up the pace, and these other two are going to have to go like hell to stay with him. Number 60. Well, that's Paul Rogers. So he's having a good race, but it really is starting to hot up. Well, with still 3 rounds to go, the championship is certainly not won. And here comes Daniel Tarrant up into the lead. Comes around this corner, cranked. Oh, and he's gone! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, he did that at Brands Hatch, and he's done it again. Just taking it that little bit too far, and the old tyres have gives way. But it's Rams both of them. Rami's in the lead. He's got. I've got to stop laughing on that one. Daniel Jones. I'm not laughing at Daniel Tarrant, believe you me. It's just so sad luck for the lad. But we've lost Tazza. As the rest of the field come through, number 10. Oh dear, Steve Kenworthy. I feel so sorry for poor Daniel Tarrant, because he's on an uncompetitive machine and he's pushing it to all it's worth. Checkered flag then for Mark Ramsbotham. He's going to be delighted with that for sure. So let's have a look then. Mark Ramsbotham with his first win of the season from Darren Jones and Paul Rogers. Wade Martin there, John Coughlin and Mark Hugenboom. Dylan Fox, Keith Clark, Steve Kenworthy, Stuart McClure. What a good race, but sad for Daniel Tarrant. Well, there he is, chuffed as punch. Sarah will be happy, that's no doubt about that. So Razza wins it from Tazza, and poor old Tazza, he has to walk home. Never mind. So here we are, the magnificent views here across Silverstone. I'm not going to say ex-Formula 1 circuit, because I don't think it's done and dusted yet, but certainly it's heading that way. Number 3, Darren Jones leads the standings with 160 points. Nearest rival is Mark Ramsbotham, there he is, with 107 points. So it's a 53-point advantage. 64, that's Dylan Fox. As number 6 comes down onto the line, John Pugh. And John currently sits where? Actually doesn't figure in the top 10 at the moment. So here we go, lights have gone to green, and we're on board with Darren Jones. And he's just got mugged. By whom? Well, that was Dylan Fox, one of them. I think that may have been number 60, Paul Rogers, that went past him. So we're on board, and here comes that 64 bike of Dylan Fox, and Fox into the lead. That's Ramsbotham, I think, in second place on the 73 bike. Yes, it is. Now, all Darren Jones has to do is well, he could wrap up the he wins here today. He could wrap up the championship, but bear in mind, it is double points at the last round. We're on board once again with Darren as he tries to find a way past the two in front. Now, this is a rider's view going into the new little complex, the new little set of right and left corners, the chicanes, or what you want to call them. Here it is, you're coming up to it now. That's where they used to put the power on to go around the big long corner onto the start and finish straight, and this is the little nadgery bit. So very slow, first gear, and then they get the power eased on very slowly as they go on to the Formula 1 start. There it is, and head back down the start and finish. Jonesy in third. Dylan Fox leads it now, and that's number 50. That's Jez Strangwood. So it is Dylan Fox that leads. Let's have a look at the standings. Darren Jones, as I say, leads the series 160 points. Mark Ramsbotham second, 107. Daniel Tarrant 90. Bear in mind Daniel isn't racing anymore, which is a shame. Paul Rogers in fourth, 71 from Dylan Fox. He's in fifth with 61, so a good result for Dylan here today. May well put him up to third in the standings. We'll wait and see, shall we? 66 there, Stuart McClure, and Stuart at the moment sits, where are we now? Not in the top 10. So a good result for him. We're on board once again with Mr. Jones, Dazza Jones, into that little tight complex once again. I'm leaving these shots on for you to give you a chance to see exactly what it's like to go through that little section as a rider, in case you've never actually ridden Silverstone before. This is what you'll be faced with. First and second gear, nidgy nadgery, throttle on nice and easily, power the bike up to try and stop the back wheel spinning, and there you go, you're back onto the start finish straight once again. I'm not even sure what they've called that new bit, to be perfectly honest, apart from well, I know what I could call it, but I'm sure that's just the view voiced by many riders that have gone around it. Seem to have done it on tracks all over the country as well as all over Europe. Put these little chicanes in, these little S sections to slow everybody down. But Dylan Fox is not being slowed down. He's out front, Jones second, Ramsbotham third. Then the 13 bike there of Wade Martin. He's fourth, so not a bad position for him at the moment. We're on board again with Darren, and he's going through. Jones going through, I think, into the lead. Has he made it stick? We'll wait and see as we pick him up on the trackside cameras, but I think Darren Jones has gone into the lead. He needs to, yes he has. Fox is down to second. Ramsbotham still there in third. Now I'm sure Mark Ramsbotham, if he has any hopes of taking this championship from Darren Jones, needs to get up there into second and needs to put Jones under pressure. But Dylan Fox is having an absolutely inspired ride at the moment. Paul Rogers is there as well, so is John Pugh, John Coughlin on the 28 bike in there as well, but Jonesy still has it. That's the top three. Dylan Fox from County Clare on the Mescal Motorcycles machine, so having a good ride. You'll remember, those of you back a couple of years, when we had Marshall Neal dominating this series, and Marshall, I'm hearing, will be making a comeback later on in the season. Had a bit of injury problems just recently, and sadly Marshall's not been able to get a lot of racing under his belt, but it'll be nice to see the Irishman back. Very pleasant character, and not only that, a darn good rider as well. So here they go, under the bridge once again. Oh, look at this. Dylan Fox, a little bit of, I think they were touching there for a moment. Maybe rubbing elbows, but Jonesy held on to it. So Dazza has it at the moment from Dylan Fox. So it's Dazza, Foxy and Ramy. No Tazza, unfortunately, anymore, so we've lost that one. New partner moved into the firm. So Dazza, Foxy, and third place it's Ramy Ramsbotham. I hope he's left his rabbit at home today. Here they go, down that very long straight. You'll see how long it is. We're on board once again, and Dylan Fox has gone through. Outbreaking Jones into the bottom corner, so Jonesy back into second, but still 20 points, so that's not such a bad score. This round, of course, has a chance theoretically of tying up the championship, but with Liddon still to go and double points at Brands Hatch, there is still a chance for well, Ramsbotham is the nearest to him at the moment, so still a chance for Ramy maybe to snatch it from Jones. Remember, the winner of this series gets an Aprilia 1000 Mille at the end of it. Bike's worth about 10,000 quid, so that's what I call a hell of a prize fund. Lot to race for. Unfortunately, I think, people, it's sad to announce that we will not have the Aprilia 1000s next year. We are reverting to a Super Twin series, which will of course include Mille 1000s and Ducatis and whatever else you want to ride, as long as it's a Super Twin. So it might make for some more interesting racing, because the grids, I have to say, have been a little thin for this year, and we've not had enough support from the riders, except the ones that are out there now, and they've supported us great throughout the season. So thank you to the lads, but it'd be a shame to see the race series end, but that's the way it goes. Dylan Fox, he leads this one. This is Silverstone. It's the 8th round of the series out of 10. We've got 2 more to go. So Darren Jones in second place. Yes, he still is. I recognise that little red helmet. Dylan Fox on the yellow fared machine. They're all Aprilia 1000 Milles, sponsored by ProTech. So they're all on the same tyres. So it's a one-make series. Very even. You're not allowed to change very much at all, in actual fact. I think you're allowed to change the end cam and the chip, as they call it. Oh, Dylan Fox in trouble there. Jones is going to take his chance, but not quick enough. Foxy was very wide, very late on the brakes. I think he thought he was going to overrun that. Maybe he's got brake problems. Maybe his tyres are starting to go off. He's put a lot into this race, and maybe he's gone too soon. And those tyres are beginning to go off. Remember, they're treaded tyres. They are not slicks. Normally, the Aprilia 1000s go out when it's raining, but it's a nice sunny day here today, so it's rather unusual for these lads to get a fine day. Normally, as I say, it chucks it down. So as the rest of the field make their way through, what's happening out front? It's still Dylan Fox, it's still Darren Jones, it's still Mark Ramsbotham, so Foxy from Dazza from Ramy. And that bike is looking, oh, Jonesy went really wide there. I think Dylan Fox almost outbraked himself there, and Jonesy nearly ran up the back of him. So maybe that was what it was all about. I've got a feeling he might have a problem there on that machine. Whether it's his brakes or say whether it's his tyres, I'm not sure, but here they come. And Ramsbotham has gone to second, or has he? Dylan Fox still leads it. Now, who is in second place? It is Jones, so Dazza Jones hangs on to that one. That's the number 60 bike there, back in fourth. That's Paul Rogers. Look at the number 6, John Pugh, he's back there as well. But the gap beginning to extend once again. Dylan Fox opening up the space between himself and the chasing pack. So I think Dylan has decided that he wants to get away before anybody else has a chance to catch him. And at the moment, that looks like Paul Rogers is climbing all over Mark Ramsbotham. So that battle for third place really now starting to hot up. We might see a change there before the next couple of laps are over. But the man out front, there he is. Oh, Ramsbotham's gone through to second. So they all changed very quickly as they came out of those bottom corners. We just missed the action round there because we were between cameras, but there you go. And Mark Ramsbotham, Ramy Ramsbotham, making that opportunity to get through past Mark Jones. Now, if he finishes in front of Jones, that's going to be 20 points to 16. It's not enough, but it's something. And he's going for the lead, and he does get it. Ramsbotham into the lead, 25 points if he can stay there. Dylan Fox now into second, and I do feel that something is not right with Dylan's machine either. As I say, he's cooked his tyres, or he's got a bit of brake fade there or something. He seems to be very gingerly laying into the corners. Seems to be leaving his brake into strangely quite late. Ramsbotham's going to take the win. We've just lost Dylan Fox. Darren Jones second, Paul Rogers is third. Well, Dylan Fox went missing. Wade Martin there in fourth from John Coughlin. Mark Hugenboom from Dylan Fox who finished seventh. Keith Clark, Steve Kenworthy and Stuart McClure 10th. Well, Mark Ramsbotham's certainly starting, and there he is. He's going to have a little bit of a celebratory burnout at the bottom of the start straight. He's closed the gap on Mark Jones, if only by a few points, but he's happy with the result. But the man that wasn't so happy about his result was the man that led most of the race, and that was, of course, Mr. 64 Dylan Fox. There he is in the gravel trap, trying to get out, trying his hardest, and realising that that grass is a little bit slippery on hot tyres. Blast, he says. Have another go at Linden. Well, welcome along here to Linden in Kent. This is round 9 of the MRO Powerbike Tour 2004. Good crowd turned up to enjoy the action. We're going to go onto the grid with the RSV Mille. This is the one class make, number 13 there. That's Wade Martin, qualified well on the front row. So there is number 60 alongside him. That's Paul Rogers. There is the man going for the championship, number 3, Darren Jones, the Dazza. And there's Mark Ramsbotham, the only man that theoretically can deny Jones the championship for this year. So Ramy on pole, And I can assure you Dazza is going to be taking it pretty easy as number 64 comes down onto the grid. That's Dylan Fox. The understarters orders. Let's have a look at the standings so far. Darren Jones comes here today with 180 points. Mark Ramsbotham with 132. Now, as we've said before, the final round at Brands Hatch, double bubble points. So whatever you do at Brands, you get twice as many. So it's very important to go to Brands in a good position. And Darren Jones knows that better than anyone. Had a serious challenge from Daniel Tarrant earlier on in the season, but Daniel, after 2 crashes, 2 rounds consecutively, is now pulled out of the series, which is a shame because we had a 3-way scrap. But it's Jones that leads, Ramsbotham second, and it is, of course, that's the battle really for the championship. Everybody else much further down. Daniel Tarrant, of course, now not racing now, 90 points he had. Paul Rogers is the next man on the list in 4th place with 87, so Paul should move up into 3rd. 13 is the man at the moment chasing, that is Wade Martin, and Wade currently 6th in the standings with 67 points. So here we go. Ramsbotham, of course, the boy to look out for. He has a chance of maybe snatching the championship at the last death at Brands. It's very much of an outside chance, but as you look at this 3 abreast, you wouldn't think that possible on bikes of that size, but around this circuit it's very possible. So Rami Ramsbotham goes into the lead, Dazza Jones goes down to 2nd, so it's Razza and Dazza at the moment, and I'm not quite sure who that is in 3rd. May still be Wade Martin on the 13 bike. Yes, indeed it is. Number 60, Paul Rogers, hangs on to 4th place as they dip into that tight right-hander at the bottom of the track. It's a very small track here at Liddon Hill, and of course it doesn't take long before these guys start lapping each other. Jones has gone back into the lead, under braking as they come up Hairy Hill for the next time. Jones now leads. Ramsbotham 2nd, Martin, then Rogers. That's the top 4 at the moment. And Rogers definitely having a look here for that 3rd spot. Has he got it? I don't think he has, as they drop down the bottom, back onto the start and finish straight once again. It is Darren Jones then that leads. No change in the top 3 so far. So at the moment, if Darren can stay out there, that's a nice bag full of points to go to add to his existing tally of 180, which will obviously take him into 200 something. Oh, Ramsbotham under brakes up the inside. Has he overshot the corner? No, he hasn't. So that's lucky. He went in there very, very hot. Jones comes around the outside of him at the top of the hill, but we're looking at 3rd place and 4th place at the moment. So the circuit quite small, so it does kind of even things out a little bit. Nobody really getting the best of anybody as far as bike power is concerned. Although these machines are all supposed to be identical, you're limited to what you can do. So as they head back down the bottom there, take that right-hander just to see where the Supermoto track starts. Of course, Liddon Hill also well known for its Supermoto series. Here comes number 3, under braking once again. Is Ramsbotham going to break him out? Yes, he does. So I think Jonesy was having a look to do the same to Ramsbotham as he did to him on the previous lap, out braking up the inside. Rami shut the door. 19 coming around the outside on that lovely turned out machine. That's Mark Compton in that rather splendid turquoise. So what have we got? About 5 here at the moment. Ramsbotham 6, I think we've got, all battling at the front. This is rather unusual for the Millies, because normally we get sort of the top 2 or 3 get away and then that's it, they're off. But because this track is such a small circuit, it does tend to keep them all together. Very kind of evens the whole thing out. Here goes Jonesy up the inside of Ramsbotham. Has he made it this time? Yes, I think he has. Yep. Got to be careful they don't lean on each other too hard. And up to 2nd goes Paul Rogers, but no, he didn't. Looks like he's now 3rd, and they're all falling over elbows and going all over the place. Well, that's what racing's all about. That's my bit of track I want. Excuse me, move over, whack. Now, what's Ramsbotham going to do? He's going to want to win this, so when he goes to Brands, he has an outside chance of winning the championship. Remember, the winner of this Aprilia Mille series gets a brand new bike for 2005. That bike is valued at well over 10,000 quid. So it's not a bad actually prize to take home, is it? We don't have the series running with us next year. We have a Super Twins class, which will of course include Mille Thousands, the Aprilias, and whatever else you want to ride, Ducatis or whatever. So that should make life a little bit more interesting. I have to say that on behalf of the promoter Dave Stewart, that it's been a bit thin on the ground, the amount of riders in this class over the last couple of years. And you have to remember, with the escalating costs of circuit hire nowadays, and insurance and all the other bits and pieces that go together, the marshal costs and everything else, they need full grids of 20 or so more riders. So 15 really isn't enough to sustain a class. So I understand where he's coming from, but it's a shame. But I'm assure you the Super Twins are going to be a corker. We saw the 400s replace the old Aprilia 250s. That's turned into a great race, that has. So maybe the Super Twins, I think the Super Twins will replace this with some style. Enough of the politics. Back to the racing, and it's all going on. Jonesy out front still, runs both of them, still hunting him down in second place. Still Rogers there in third on the 60 bike, so lap 9 I'd say that is, place 6. Or someone, didn't quite read the rest of his board. Thank you for hanging that out in front of our camera. Very nice of you, did it every time. Must be thanked for his consideration to our TV camera. Unfortunately, he didn't think to put his sponsor's name on the thing, otherwise he'd have given the sponsor a good plug as well, so you goofed up on that one, mate. Jonesy still leads it. Darren, well, he's twitching like a little sparrow at the moment in the morning about this championship. He's so nervous. Wants to win it so badly after being beaten in the second place last year by Daniel Tarrant. Tarrant's not here. So Jonesy thought he'd got it pretty well tied up midway through the season, but Mark Ramsbotham has come back at him. Yeah, well, all that empty pitboard he's got there, not one sponsor anywhere on it, so missed opportunity there, my boy. Here they go. Oh, we've got a bit of late braking going on here. Is that Rogers got up the inside of Ramsbotham? It is. So Rammy goes down one, now falling into the clutches of Wade Martin. So Paul Rogers, well, lap times here at the moment around 70, averaging around 78.52 miles per hour. Lap times are around about 45 seconds. Jones is still there. Now he's got a new challenger now, so the number 60 biker Paul Rogers, well, I think Paul's looking maybe to pick up his first win of the season. And Mark Jones really does need to keep a watchful eye. Oh, look at this for a bit of out-braking. Deep into the corner on the brakes. Good job these Milles are fitted with some rather substantial front brakes on them. A lot of bike to pull up at the short distance. And Ramsbotham goes through into second. Darren Jones pushed to third. That means Wade Martin in fourth is still there. So whether Darren Jones has just said to himself, oh, and down goes the race leader. Well, Paul Rogers going on to the last lap, pushed it just a little too hard, the front tucked under, and it's goodbye, sweetheart. I'm in the kiddie litter. My commiserations go out to him. Oh, and Jones is having a banging session here with Ramsbotham. So on the last lap, Rammy comes up the inside of him. Oh, and so, oh, it's all going on here. Martin also sticks his penny's worth in as well. So Jonesy now down to third. He's going to have a go back at this, but I don't think he'll make it. He'll realise that he doesn't want to lose it. He'd rather score a third place than a 0, and there's the checkered flag. So Ramsbotham takes the 25 points from Wade Martin on 20. Jones there in third for Fox, Compton, Copland, Garner, Lowe and Paul Rogers. But for Darren Jones, he's got to finish in the top 10 now at Brands Hatch, I think. Well, welcome to this week's Bike Sport UK. We're here at Brands Hatch, round 10 of the Power Bike Tour for this year. It's the last round, and we're going to be looking at the ProTech Aprilia Mille race. It's the very last race of our coverage of this year's series, and the battle is certainly on between that man, number 73, Mark Ramsbotham, And well, there is a newcomer to our race today, number 13. Well, that of course is Maid Martin. There's 99. That's Francis Williamson. And there is 66, Marshall Neal, former champion of this particular class. And there he is, Darren Jones. He's got 39 points advantage over Mark Ramsbotham coming here today. Daniel Turrett, of course, isn't racing. Paul Rogers, Wade Martin, John Cottenham, and the rest of the guys. It's all about what number 3 can do here today. Darren Jones, he just needs to keep a clean race, and he'll have this one. And they're on the floor, and it's Jonesy that's gone down. Well, that's not the way to win a championship, Darren. He's on the floor. We didn't quite see what happened. I think he collided with somebody else. Let's have a look, see if we can just see. Yes, indeed, he hit the back of somebody else's bike, I think, and he's gone down. Well, that's not the way to win a championship. So 73, Mark Ramsbotham. Remember, there are 50 points on offer here today because they get double points. He could now become the champion. Well, that is drama in the first order. Jonesy on the point of winning the championship. Thought he'd done it at Silverstone, thought he'd done it at Lyddon, had left it to the very last round here at Brands Hatch, and he's binned it. Well, I don't know what to say, except Darren, you're a twit. 66, that's Marshall Neal, the former Aprilia champion, coming through, as the rest. Wade Martin in there as well. Keep an eye out for 99, Francis Williamson, the former Powerbike Tour rider. The oil flags are out. That will be for Jones's bike that's in the gravel trap. Well, the most Jonesy can hope for is if he can pick that bike back up again, and if he gets it re-scrutineered and it's passed, he might be able to join the race. There's not a lot of riders, not an awful lot of riders in the race, as you can see, so he still may have a chance of scoring some points. Remember, he's got 39 points advantage over number 73, who's in third place now, Mark Ramsbotham. He's got that 39 points advantage, so he really does need to get into sort of the top 10, I think, and Mark Ramsbotham needs to win this race. Well, it's a tall order for Ramy, because he's got 2 veteran racers out front. Marshall Neal, the Irishman, former champion twice. Oh, somebody going very, very wrong there. Couldn't quite see who it is, and he's off the bike. Well, I can only assume that was John Pugh, number 6, that went down. And there is Jonesy. Well. It's all full of surprises. Let's have a see what happened. I think it's John Pugh that went down. Oh, it's the old back end gave up. I think he grabbed a handful of brake. I realised he was heading for the gravel trap, and really could do nothing about it. Well, foot down, motocross style, but it just pitched him off. Well, it looks like a single digit on the bike, so I assume that is John Pugh, number 6. Well done, John. Nice one. Back at the front, it's Marshall Neal, say 2 times winner of this championship. He's got Francis Williamson there behind him, then Mark Ramsbotham. And I have to say, Ramy, you're out there with 2 veterans, so you're going to have to keep a very watchful eye on them. Well, if you stay where you are at the moment, Mark, you could just nick the championship off of Jonesy. Well, Darren is back on his bike. I can only assume that he got the Marshall, or there was a scrutiny, I think, up at that side of the track. And this is the one now. Francis Williamson and Marshall Neal going for it. It means nothing to these 2. There is Darren Jones, so he hasn't, well, he's a couple of laps down, I think, but he may well finish the race. Look at the back of him, covered in muck and dirt. Well, he's a brave lad. He's picked it back up again. Not many would do that. There's a big old bikes. Obviously, it started for him. So they're basically standard machines, so they've got electric starts and so forth on them, so it's not sort of like push it. But obviously there was a scrutineer on the side of the track there that's checked his bike out. Remember that when you crash, you have to re-scrutiny your machine before you can rejoin the race. If you don't do that, you get disqualified. But obviously there is a scrutineer there, and they've checked his bike out and said, no, that's okay. He was lucky, I think, to land where he did in that kitty litter. So we'll see how Jonesy gets on, but at the moment Ramsbotham sits back there in third place. There's number 16. Well, that of course is Doug Lowe. These are all Aprilia 1000 machines. This is the very last race on this class, because next year we will see a Super Twins, I think they're going to call it, a Super Twins class, which will replace this Mille class. So it will of course include a few of these Milles, plus Ducatis and 1 or 2 other twin machines. So it should be interesting. We saw the Aprilia 250 be replaced by the 400 class, and that's turned out to be the right decision, because it really is a cracking race now. So maybe we'll see this. Oh, somebody else out there. That could well be number 13. It is Wade Martin out of this one. So that's either he's been off the bike or a mechanical failure. But here they come, the lead in 3. And I have to say, Ramy Ramsbotham hanging on to the shirt tails of those 2 out front, Williamson and of course Marshall Neal. And he doesn't really need to mix it with those 2 guys, because they have got vast experience. Well, there is Darren Jones. Well, the bike looks okay. It doesn't seem to be damaged in any way, so hopefully they'll keep going to the end of the race. Now, Jones has really just got to try and get himself up as high as possible, because it really depends on what Ramsbotham could do. These two out front are being a bit of spoilers at the moment for Ramsbotham. Good old scrap going on there, and that may well have been 37, I think that is. And that would be Chris Norris if it is. There is Darren Jones. So remember, the winner of this class actually gets a brand new 1000cc Mille worth well over 10,000 quid. So there's a lot at stake for these guys. It's Neil that leads the race again. Francis Williamson there in second place. Mark Ramsbotham now, to be sure of winning the championship, Ramy's got to win the race. 19, that was Mark Compton on that lovely turquoise machine. Here is Darren Jones once again. Keep looking at the machine. He's got to be hurting because he went down really hard, but fair dues to the lad. Brave, he's got out there and kept going, so he's determined to take home that bike if he can. He won't take it home today, of course. Oh, Ramsbotham had it a little squirrely there. The last thing Mark wants is not to finish the race. There is Compton, he's got number 60 behind him. Well, that's of course Paul Rogers, so a good old scrap beginning to develop here. This is for about 4th place, I think, this scrap. Here is the scrap for the lead, and Williamson going up the inside of Marshall Neal. Ramy Ramsbotham there, keeping a watchful eye on those two. Here's that little battle. Compton's got it at the moment. Rogers is there as well, and Ben Garner is also in that little fray, number 45. But this is the action all out front. Francis Williamson, who had a go at the went to British Superstock, if I remember rightly, from the Powerbike Tour, when BSB found their grid a little empty, and they threw out this enticer to privateers to fill up the grid, and Francis, with the team he was racing with then, decided to go for it. Marshall Neal has gone back into the lead. Marshall, of course, also I think had a crack at the Superstocks. A lot of injuries over the year, Marshall, so that's why we haven't seen much of him, which is a shame. Very likeable character. Neil it is then. We haven't seen much of him, as I say, through injuries, but it's nice to see him out on the track again. Ramsbotham. Well, credit to Ramy. He's hanging on to these two. Well, I won't call them veterans because it makes them sound very old, but they are very experienced riders. I'm not quite sure how long Mark has actually been riding, but I can tell you that he has been riding for a while, but maybe not as long as these two guys out in front of him. But he's going great guns at the moment. They're all on identical bikes. Oh, here comes Ramy. Well, up the inside of Williamson, under braking as he made that stick. I think he has. Yes, so Ramsbotham goes up to second. Now, if he can get past Marshall Neal and hang on to that lead, to the checkered flag, with Darren Jones circulating around last at the moment. Well, he's not actually last because Dave Dibble is down there with him. Well done, Officer Dibble. You're having a race with the could well be the series winner. There he is, number 77 on cue, our old friend Dave Dibble. Well, he enjoys his racing. That's the main thing for Dave. You can't all be winners, you know, but he goes out there and he races, and I hope we see him back next year in the Super Twins. 66, 73 and 99. So, of course, that's Marshall Neal who leads this race. Ramy Ramsbotham in second, with Francis Williamson in third. Remember, Francis became a new father a couple of years ago when we were up at Alton Park, and Ramy's gone into the lead. Same place as last time. He's going to get himself well and truly mugged by these two if he's not careful, because they'll sit and wait. They've got a lot of experience, the guys in front of him. This is that scrap, I think, for 4th place, 64 at the moment. Dylan Fox has it. That's Mark Compton. That looks like Darren Jones just going through, which will mean that the front runners, and there he is. Well, if Ramsbotham can see Jones out in front of him, that's really going to spur him on, because he knows that if he wins this race and Jones finishes where he is, that will give Ramsbotham the championship on the last race of the year. Well, he's got two veterans behind him, and here they come. Wow, Francis Williamson going up the inside. Has he mugged him? Yes, he has. Now, what's Marshall Neal going to do? Right across the front of Ramsbotham, looking up the inside of Williamson. Well, as I said, these two guys out front are veterans. They know what it's all about. 64 now. Well, that is Dylan Fox. Is he third? There is Compton, number 19. So it's all getting a bit frantic out there. And what is Ramsbotham going to do? The last thing he wants to do is get into a battle with these two. He'd be better, I think, sticking where he is and hoping that Jonesy finishes outside the points, although that's unlikely because there's only about 15 bikes in the race. So Jones at the moment running, and we've got a checkered flag this time through. He's going to go to Neil. Yes, it does. Marshall Neil wins it. Well, there is Darren Jones. Now, I think Jones has done enough to win the championship. He seems convinced that he's done enough. His pit bull will tell him that. I think Jones has done it. Ramsbotham finishing third, but after a disqualification of the 99 biker Francis Williamson, Ramsbotham was moved up to second, but it wasn't enough. It was not enough. Darren Jones finishing in 10th, and that was enough to give him 208 points to take the championship, with Ramsbotham finishing on 197. Well, there they are. They've got the number 1 stickers to go on the front of his bike. Darren Jones then spectacularly throws it away on the opening lap, but still comes back to win the championship.